Welcome everyone. Good morning and thank you for joining us on this free Thursday webinar. I'm Nikki Jovicic from LookUpStrata and I'm also the Managing Director of Tower Body Corporate. I'm your host today and we welcome Lauren McGee from Workplace Performance and Wellbeing Institute to talk about strategies to prevent burnout and promote wellbeing in strata management offices around Australia. A recent study indicated that approximately 60% of strata managers exceed the recommended 38-hour work week, with 1 in 5 clocking 51 or more hours. Does that sound like you? Alarmingly, 43% of strata managers involved in the research reported grappling with mental health issues. Today, Lauren will guide us in cultivating a culture of mutual support by helping us to recognise warning signs in others and ourselves. We welcome Lauren McGee from Workplace Performance and Wellbeing Institute. Lauren is a stress, resilience and productivity expert who helps high achievers manage stress and achieve balance. At 23, she experienced burnout while pursuing 2 degrees and working in paramedicine, and she turned to yoga and meditation, which played a vital role in her recovery. Now, Lauren shares her experience as a speaker and trainer, helping corporations and business owners balance drive and ambition with calmness and moderation. She's spoken on stage across Australia, sharing her story and her wisdom. And welcome, Lauren. We feel very lucky to have you here with us today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nikki. And thank you everyone for being here this morning. I'm really excited to share some of these strategies and hopefully something lands for all of you. So who here feels like sometimes, the stress in their workplace really overwhelms them? Maybe they bring this stress home. And who here feels like maybe some strategies to be able to manage that stress, that inevitable stress that happens in your busy work life, would be really beneficial to you. My name is Lauren and I am from Workplace Performance and Wellbeing Institute. And I'm really excited for this morning as we dive through some, pertinent strategies to manage our stress and to prevent burnout. That's what we're really going to be focusing on today. So today we're going to be going through what stress actually is, the importance of managing stress, and also how this stress is coming up in your workplace. So then you can actually be aware of maybe some of the signs, some of the things that are occurring that are causing this stress in the first place. I also want all of you to walk away today with some pertinent red flags in yourself and your colleagues to know when, someone around you is going through a really stressful time, a sense of overwhelm, and maybe moving towards that stage of burnout. I also want to dive in today between the difference between stress and burnout, because these two are completely different things. And then I want to go through our 4-step process to preventing burnout that we use with a lot of our clients here at WPWI. Now, before I go any further, I'd love to share a little bit about me. About 3 years ago, I was just finishing my 2nd degree in paramedicine and entering the world as a paramedic here on the Gold Coast. During this time, COVID hit. So as you all were aware, this time was really chaotic. I'm sure we all felt it. Things were definitely different. There was a huge stress globally, and all of us felt that. During this time, I'd worked so hard in my degree. Becoming a paramedic is a lengthy process and extremely challenging. I was entering this world of paramedicine, shift works, having time away from family. Maybe some of you can resonate with the long working hours, and this then getting in the way of actually spending time with your loved ones and doing the things that you love to do as well. So this was happening for me, and I was also training really hard at the gym, putting so much pressure on myself in every area of my life because I am a high achiever. Some of you may resonate with that one too. However, I didn't listen to the signs of my body. I didn't listen to signs that maybe something wasn't right until it had hit a point where it was too late and I had hit burnout. So I was only a few months into my paramedic journey, and I was getting the worst headaches, the worst mood swings. I wasn't sleeping properly. I wasn't my normal, bubbly, happy self. I was really reactive, and I was bringing a lot of stress home to my loved one, my beautiful partner. This was having so much of an effect on every part of my life. I was going to the gym and I was still training, but I just wasn't there. My head was pounding with a headache and I was forcing things to happen. Maybe some of you feel like that currently. You just keep going and not listening to yourself and to your signs of your body, until it hit a point where I had skipped 8 cycles of my menstrual cycle. I've never had any hormone problems, never had any health issues, always been perfect. And I had to, get all the blood tests done. I had to get a brain scan done, make sure nothing was happening there. Luckily, fingers crossed, everything was fine. But there were still questions I had. There were still things that were unanswered. My doctor was completely baffled. At the time, I was 23 years old, and all of a sudden, my system wasn't working anymore. My body just couldn't function under the pressure that I was putting myself under. So I sought help elsewhere. I was seeking help from hormone specialists and holistic health practitioners. I was going on this beautiful journey of just learning about the human body, more of a holistic approach, and learning about meditation and yoga and diving into practices that I knew that my nervous system needed at this time because I was burnt out. And then going along this journey, I discovered yoga, and I knew that this beautiful practice and how it made me feel was something that I wanted to learn and to spread out into the rest of the world. So I decided to become a yoga teacher with a paramedic degree and an exercise science degree under my belt as well. So now I have this beautiful opportunity to share my story with so many people just like you that are busy Australians working on their mission, working in their business, working in their workplace as leaders, as managers, and also coming home to their loved ones. We've got both of these things occurring, and a lot of the time I feel that we so easily let work take over and we forget about our personal life. And this was happening to me. And still I started taking on some of these strategies that I'll teach you today, and things started to turn around. So now, sitting here 3 years later, I'm a yoga meditation teacher. I'm also a speaker and trainer here at WPWI, delivering my message and delivering some of these strategies that have helped me and that are scientifically proven to prevent burnout and to manage stress, but also be that busy, ambitious, driven person that you are too. And I'm not telling you to, meditate for hours like a monk. I want to teach you strategies that are practical and relevant to people like you guys from Strata. And now I'm actually in a place where my nervous system's regulated and I'm actually able to put more on my plate without burning out. So I was saying to Nikki before jumping on here, I've just started studying my postgraduate in neuroscience, and I'm able to study, run a business, teach yoga, and do all of the things without burning out. So I'm really excited for all of you to be here today. So hopefully something lands for each and every one of you. And I'd love to learn at the end what takeaways you get from this, because I'm sure everyone is going to take something a little different. So we mentioned about our organization, and basically our mission is just to come in and help people move from a state of survival into a state of thriving, to be busy within their mission, but not let it take over their life. So why is workplace well-being so important? Increasing our stress resilience is so important. So from a workplace perspective and from a managerial perspective, Australian workers are 3 times more likely to leave if they have no strategies and no resilience. It's also costing up to $30,000 Australian dollars per new hire. So if your turnover rate is really high, this is costing the business a lot, but it's also going to take up a lot of your time, which maybe some of you resonate with if you're in HR or management and your job is to train the new people coming through. And you feel like all you're doing all day is just training these new people, and they're only lasting maybe a few months, maybe a year. And then you're having to hire new people because the stress is overwhelming them. They can't handle it anymore and they're leaving. And then the beautiful thing is that when workplaces actually really acknowledge the importance of this and they're willing to invest in their employees' well-being, there's a massive return of investment financially, but then also physically in their workers being at their peak performance. So there's so many reasons why stress is important to manage. 3.4 million people in Australia have an anxiety disorder. We're actually the second highest stressed out country in the world, which I found really shocking when I was doing this research, because us Australians are known to be really laid back. If you think of an Australian, you're thinking of someone really chilled out. And maybe we are. However, I feel like a lot of us Australians are go-getters and we're busy, but we don't like to admit that we need help. We like to pretend that everything's okay and that we are chilled out and everything's running smoothly. However, we're not always willing to admit that something's not right and we need help. So a lot of Australians are suffering from some kind of mental health problem. 57,000 Australians are having a heart attack every year. This is only the reported amount too. A lot of Australians are having heart attacks that are silent heart attacks that they're not even aware of. Now, where do these heart attacks, where are they coming from? Why are they happening? There's so many reasons for this. Obviously, high blood pressure, diabetes, poor lifestyle. And where do you think these three main things are coming from? They're coming from the fact that we are so stressed and so overwhelmed that we're turning to things like alcohol, fatty foods, sugary foods, sedentary lifestyle. Maybe you're stuck in the office for long hours, you're not moving your body, mentally strained, emotionally dysregulated. And this is just putting so much stress and pressure on our bodies to a point where our hearts can't take it anymore. And we're suffering from heart disease and heart attacks. So why should you care other than what I've already shared with you, which I feel like is a big enough reason to care? Because I'm sure a lot of you on here, you have children, you have grandchildren, you have friends, you have partners, family, people that you care about. And I'm sure that you want to live a long and happy life and have memories with all of those beautiful people that you have in your life, right? So I've already sort of mentioned this, but stress is really going to create these chronic health issues if you're not going to address it early. High blood pressure, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and you are twice the risk of a heart attack compared to others who are managing their stress. So it's not getting rid of that stress, but just learning how to cope and manage. Then from a business perspective, maybe a managerial perspective, stress and burnout is leading to financial loss in the business. It's also leading to reduced productivity because if you're stressed, part of your brain actually starts to shut down. You can't focus properly, you can't think clearly, you can't make decisions clearly. You have decreased employee well-being and engagement. 3 times more likely to leave that place of work. Compared to, preventing burnout is crucial for organizations to maintain a healthy and productive workforce. I mean, how amazing would it be to co-create this workplace together where people actually really enjoy coming to work and they leave that workplace at the end of their day home to their family, to their loved ones, a better version of themselves than when they started. That's our mission here at WPWI. And it takes time and it takes consistency. Now, stress, I've harped on a little bit about it. It's a natural response in the body. So I want you to know that stress is actually really relevant. If we didn't have stress, then we wouldn't be able to keep ourselves safe. It is a safety response. So imagine if you're cooking food and you burn yourself or put your hand on the hot plate. Stress is that response that tells your body to remove the hand off the hot plate. So there's going to be stressful moments where the stress response is pertinent and really important to keep you safe. However, the problem is in society, you have that stress stacking response. So having a think about your own day, when you wake up and you're getting out of bed, what is the first thing you do? Is it turning to your phone? Is it scrolling on social media? Is it turning the news on? This is already starting your day in a stress response. So already starting our day with increased cortisol, increased adrenaline pumping around the body. Then we're going about our day. Maybe we get stuck in traffic. Maybe we check our emails and realize there's 10 million emails for us to respond to in one day. Maybe our boss is calling us and putting extra workload upon us. Maybe we hear that someone's called in sick for work and we're realizing that we're now going to have to take charge of their workload today. Maybe you're getting complaints from some of your clients and people that you're dealing with on a daily basis. And you're constantly having this stress stacking response until we're getting to this stage where we're just so overwhelmed and so overloaded. So we have the nervous system, and I don't want to overwhelm you talking about this too much. I'm extremely nerdy, so I could talk about this for hours. But the only relevant thing to take away from this slide is looking down at the autonomic nervous system. So this is the nervous system in our body, the web of electrical signals just running down every single part of the body that runs to parts of our body that's happening automatically. The key word being autonomic, right? So it's things like our heart beating, our breath happening, smooth muscles in the body, your digestive system. All of these things are happening without you physically saying, okay, can you digest my food? Okay, can you breathe? Whereas the other side, being somatic, is things that we're constantly being aware of. Okay, let's pick up my body from this chair. That is a somatic and a voluntary nervous system. However, the autonomic's happening underneath the surface without you always being consciously aware. This then gets split into your parasympathetic and your sympathetics. That's what I want to dive more into today. So these are our two parts of our nervous system, and you'll feel it, that are happening in this seesaw effect. So a lot of the time, majority of people in society, and I'm sure majority of you, when I heard Nikki talk about the statistics with that increased workload, I'm sure a lot of you are in your sympathetic. You're in your go, go, go. Now, the issue with this is that if a lot of you at your workplace are also in this sympathetic, in this go, 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 then it becomes a new normal. You look around and you think, well, everyone else is stressed. No one else is slowing down. Everyone else is go, go, go and not taking a breath. Then that's normal. That's how I should be happening and how I should be functioning on a daily basis too. So a lot of this is based on our environment and just being aware. So today is going to be amazing because I want you to be aware of what's happening with yourself and with your colleagues and what isn't quite normal and what needs to be addressed. But I just want you to have a little think now. When we talk to our clients, we talk about finding pockets of parasympathetic. So where can you find a gap in this stacking response where you can bring just a little bit of parasympathetic, a little bit of just regulating our nervous systems and coming back down? I understand that your workload is a lot and that you have a lot to do. And maybe your brain is saying right now, I don't have time to slow down. So all I'm asking for is just 30 seconds, 60 seconds of taking some deep breaths, of using the diaphragm, filling up your belly as you breathe. Just doing 5 rounds is going to be so pertinent and so important in bringing yourself back down, grounding yourself. You'll think clearer. You'll make better decisions in the long run. And you'll actually be able to see situations from a different point of view. So I want to use the analogy of a car to describe this concept to you. So imagine yourself driving to work. Driving. Maybe it was this morning. All the way to your destination, you're putting the foot on the accelerator. All the way. Imagine if you just putting your foot on the accelerator all the way to your destination. What do you think would happen? Maybe your car will break down. Maybe you'll crash the car. Maybe you'll exhaust yourself first. You're probably not going to make it to your destination safely. And you're going to ruin this beautiful vessel and this beautiful vehicle that you're driving in. But imagine if you drove to your destination, whether it be work or somewhere else, and you just had little moments of breaks between the accelerator and put your foot on that brake. Just slow down moments, only for a few seconds, stopping at the traffic lights. Maybe you could use those moments, stopping at the traffic light, to take some deep breaths, to be mindful. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Bringing your senses back in. So this car represents your body. It represents this beautiful system that is our nervous system, that is our body, that is functioning every day. Our body is truly remarkable in what it puts up with. I'm sure you can all agree. How it's going to get to a point where it won't work anymore, just like my story. It's going to give up and it's going to falter. And I don't want any of you to actually get to that point. I want us to prevent it from getting to that point. So just find those pockets of stillness. Instead of reverting to your phone and scrolling, why can't we just sit in stillness? Maybe sip on a cup of tea. Bring around your senses, ground your feet wherever you are. You could be in the office and do these. Perfect. Just 1-minute breaks in between our moments of stress. So is all stress bad? Now I want you just to have a look at this graph and looking at the peak performance section. So all of us have a different threshold of stress, a different threshold that when we pass over that threshold, we're now getting to a point where we can't cope. Now, everyone's stress threshold is different. Things are going to increase that threshold when you actually start to look after yourself, when you start to increase your stress resilience, when you start to change your mindset into a growth mindset, change how you react and respond within your environment, your situations, we can increase this threshold. It's also based off a lot of past things, maybe how your parents or people around you react to stressful moments. However, everyone's stress threshold is going to be different. It's going to take you trial and error to figure out where that threshold is. But once you find that threshold, that happy medium, that's where you want to work within, because that's where your peak performance is at. If we had no stress, looking at the other side of the graph, looking at point 1 and 2, we just have no stress. I remember when I was, really busy working as a paramedic, and we took a few days away. We went camping. We did absolutely nothing. Maybe some of you are thinking, that sounds amazing. And it was. However, at the end of these few days, I thought, I'm ready to get back into it now, because I felt a little bit stagnant. So we're still, as human beings, we need to be stimulated, and we still need a level of stress to push us forward. However, it's up to us, and it's up to our organization, and up to us as leaders to either use that level of stress to push us forward towards our goals, or use that level of stress to drag us back. So we can use that level of stress to work in our peak performance. Unfortunately, though, if we push through our threshold and we get to this point where, leading into point 5 and 6 of the graph, we're getting to those points of burnout. We're depleted. We don't have anything left to give. It's going to take trial and error. Like I said, I don't have all the answers, because everyone's threshold is going to be different. You're probably going to have to feel both ends of the spectrum to know where your happy medium is. But I wanted to hone in on the importance of this, and the importance that not all stress is bad. Stress is actually amazing. It's just learning how to use it. Just quickly answering these questions. Now, these questions are perfect to give to your colleagues, people that you're working around as well, just to know where they're at. They don't have to share this with you, but there's such an awareness piece, because I truly believe that if you don't have awareness of what you're dealing with, how you're feeling, what's going on for you, how can you change? If we think we're fine, we'll never ask for help. We'll never seek change. We'll never seek to implement something different, because everything is fine. So let's do this one. I'll give you literally just 60 seconds to run through. Every single question is based on the last month. So just thinking, the last, say, 4 weeks roughly, and being super honest with yourself. Now, you don't have to share these with anyone. And honesty is key, because you're only lying to you. So you will have a number from 0 to 4, 4 being very often and 0 being never. So in the last month, the first question, how often have you been upset because of something that happened unexpectedly? And I know that the Strata group managers, you really deal with unexpected things in your day. So just be really honest with yourself and coming up with these answers. So then at the end, you'll have a number next to each question, 1 to 10. And just being really quick with these questions, because the first answer that comes forward is normally the right one. When we start to overthink these questions, we'll start to change the answers. And this is the perceived stress score. So this is a global score that all sorts of, psychologists, mental health professionals, they use to perceive how stressed their clients are. So when you get to the end, you'll get a number. And it's important to know, okay, I am really stressed and this isn't normal. The sort of happy medium is probably around the 10 to 20 mark, maybe a little bit more, depending what your job entails. But being around that 30 to 40 mark is extremely high. You're at twice the risk of a heart attack. I'm sure, like I said, that that you all want to live happy lives, make happy memories with your loved ones. I actually want to quickly share a story with you. When I was working as a paramedic, we were called out to this beautiful elderly man, and his daughter was there. He was in a lot of pain, and a lot of health issues that he'd been dealing with for a long time. Mental health issues, chronic health issues. And we took him to hospital because of this severe level of pain, struggling to breathe. There was a lot of things going on. I remember driving there, sitting next to him in the ambulance as my partner was driving the ambulance. So I was in the back with him. And He's such a beautiful person, really easy to talk to. And I spoke to him and I said, because I love to ask this question. We knew that it was most likely this was going to be his last trip to hospital. He was in so much pain. He had a lot of protocols put in place for him to have special care if he needed to. And it was a sad moment for him. His daughter was there too. And I asked him, what is your biggest regret in life? I like to ask this question. You know what he said? He said that my biggest regret in life is to not put myself and my health first. For so long, he said that he put himself last. He put other people's needs before his own. He put work before his own health. He wasn't there for his family. He didn't spend too much time with his daughter when she was young. He used to come home so stressed and so overwhelmed and angry and frustrated. So he didn't know how to cope with it. He didn't have any strategies. And that's what he said was his biggest regret. So I want to share that with you because that really hit home for me. A life on this planet is so important. We literally have, as an average life, 82 summers. Then how do you want to spend those 82 summers? I'll move on. So I'm sure you're all aware, by sounds on the chat box, what are the causes of stress in your workplace? And I've been doing a little bit of digging, a little bit of research, what is really applicable right now for strata managers and leaders. So dealing with diverse personalities and conflicting interests, whether it be with your work colleagues, whether it be with the clients and the people that you're dealing with. Juggling multiple responsibilities and deadlines. Limited resources and competing priorities. Let me know which ones you resonate with the most. Lack of clear communication support. Dealing with legal and regulatory complexities, can't speak right now. Feeling undervalued or underappreciated. Technology challenges and inadequate training. Unpredictable work hours and emergencies. Because I know being a strata manager, I'm sure things come up that you're not expecting. And then your work hours are just increasing more and more and more. Red flags for stress in yourself and colleagues. So change in behavior. Maybe you're noticing that Sally, who you work next to, is no longer chatting anymore. It's no longer coming out, being social. It's no longer happy. Their personality is changing. Maybe they're being ratty. Maybe they're withdrawing. Social withdrawal is one of them. Irritability, lack of concentration. Maybe you're noticing their performance is decreasing. How would you notice this? Maybe you have KPIs that you set for colleagues, for yourself, for others. You're not meeting those needs, those deadlines. Maybe the work isn't at the standard that it used to be. And then maybe they're opening up and saying, I'm drinking more. I'm turning to X, Y, or Z to cope. Overreactive, so being reactive instead of responding. These are all red flags for this stress getting to a point now where it could hit burnout if it's not addressed. So what do you do if you see these red flags in yourself or colleagues? I would suggest definitely putting your hand up and asking for help, whether it be someone at work that you trust or someone outside of work. We're so lucky and so fortunate in Australia too that we have so many free resources. You can do it online anonymously and ask for help through Beyond Blue and all of these amazing organizations that we have available. So more than 50% of Australians are currently suffering from burnout. Now, burnout is this word that gets thrown out. I'm sure you've all heard about it. Maybe you're not sure if you've suffered from it. Burnout is actually a syndrome. And it's these three main things that are occurring at the same time that creates this red zone of burnout. So you've got emotional exhaustion, cynicism, and lack of purpose and fulfillment. It's that cynical way of thinking, being quite negative, but down about what's going on, not having that resilience. So when these three things are together, then you've definitely got burnout. But even having one or two of these things, you're definitely on your way to suffering from this syndrome. So I want to talk about now the difference between stress and burnout, because they are different. And I think a lot of people don't know the difference. You also can suffer from burnout without being stressed. There are quite a few factors that can contribute towards burnout. However, stress is one of the main contributors. So when you don't manage your stress, when you don't put your hand up and ask for help, when you don't set boundaries, when you don't work on yourself and your physical health, it gets to this point where you push way past your threshold, then you could reach this point of burnout. So stress is characterized by the over-engagement. This is when your adrenaline and cortisol is rushing through your body and you're feeling overactive, whereas burnout is disengagement. So stress is that overreactive of emotions, maybe feeling angry, frustrated, lashing out, whereas in burnout, your emotions are flat. You don't have really anything to feel. You're feeling empty. So stress produces urgency and hyperactivity. So stress actually can be, like I said, a good thing because it's pushing you to get things done. Stress normally occurs because you care, whereas burnout occurs because you don't care anymore. You feel hopeless and helpless. Stress is a lack and loss of energy. So when you get to this point where you're stressed all of the time, you will get a rush of adrenaline and then you will crash. Whereas burnout is a loss of motivation and hope. Stress leads to anxiety because stress is occurring because you're thinking too much about the future. You're stressed about whether you don't get the deadline met or you don't get this done or what happens if this doesn't work or whatever. It's projecting out into the future. So this leads to anxiety. One of the greatest cures of anxiety is gratitude and being present. Whereas burnout leads to detachment and depression. Stress primarily causes physical damage. Like I said, it's that pressure you're putting on your system. What is it doing to your heart? What is it doing to your nervous system? What is it doing to your brain? What is it doing to your digestive system? It's a lot of time we suffer from bloating and digestive issues, and that's because our parasympathetic is linked to our gut. So if we're in our sympathetic all the time, our gut is not getting the stimulation and the circulation and the activation that it needs to work properly and function properly. Whereas burnout is, damage emotionally. Stress may kill you prematurely, whereas burnout feels like life is not worth living. So burnout's severe. So I just want to dive into this, and this could help you a little bit. 5 ways to cope with our industry strata, yes. Because I know that you're all sitting here going, okay, this is amazing to know, but at the same time, how do I cope with this? How do I deal with this? Because the workload's still going to be there, and I understand that. It's so important, though, at the end of the day, for all of you to walk away from this session and realize the importance and want to change something. It all just starts with 1% change every single day. These are the 6 pillars of health tools. So I'd love all of you, if you have your phone or laptop or a notepad, to write these down. So nutrition, sleep, exercise, sun, breath, mindfulness, and hydration. So they're all their separate categories. And then next to each one, I'd love you just to be honest again. This is all coming back to awareness and rating these. So out of 100, so say nutrition, you think, okay, I'm having 3 meals a day and they're fairly healthy. I cook them myself. But sometimes I might skip a meal. So maybe it's 60 out of 100. So that's 60%. So 100 out of 100 being that your nutrition is perfect and on point. The food is adequate. It's sustainable. It's making you feel energized. That would be 100. You're not eating, you're skipping meals, you're eating takeaway all of the time. That could be down the lower end of the spectrum. Yeah. So sleep would be that you're getting consistent sleep every night, 7 to 8 hours. You're feeling refreshed upon waking. And exercise. Now I say exercise, it really should be movement. Are you walking? Are you taking some of your meetings outside? And you could do a walking meeting. We do that here. They're a really good way of getting the body moving. It actually helps integrate what you're saying and actually get that creativity and that level of discernment when we're in nature and getting that sun on our skin too. So sun, we recommend getting at least 5 to 10 minutes at least of direct sun on your skin a day. Obviously, here in Australia, in certain parts of Australia too, even on the Gold Coast, Perth, where Nikki is, the sun is extremely strong. So not choosing the middle of the day, but maybe early hours of the morning, later in the evening when the sun's starting to come up, starting to go down. Just getting some of that direct sun in your skin, in your eyes is so important to regulate our hormones, our metabolism. So rating that one. Breath mindfulness. Now that is just, do you do 5 to 10 minutes of noticing your breath, deepening your breath, just being still without your phone, without technology, sipping on a cup of tea. That's mindfulness. Do you go for a walk without anything and you just start to notice your surroundings? That's mindfulness. So hydration, are you drinking, say 2 to 3 liters of clean filtered water every day? Even if you're stuck in the office, you're not moving, you don't feel like you need to drink, that's actually when you need to drink more. Because especially when you're in the air conditioning and you're sedentary, you're not getting fluid movement down to all of your, organs, all of your joints and everything. So you really need to get that hydration up. Physical health checks. So this actually is something I missed out on my story. Oh no, I did mention it. That was definitely a pertinent part of my story, because if I didn't get the health checks, the blood tests, the scans, anything that I needed to find out what was actually happening at a physiological level, at a deeper level that I can't physically see, then I wouldn't have known what was happening. My doctor wouldn't know what was happening, and I wouldn't have actually started that journey to change things. So we actually worked with a company a few months ago, finance company. We delivered a session similar to this, but in a face-to-face setting for a little bit longer. And when I came back to the company a couple of weeks later to ask what had changed, what they implemented, one of the things they implemented was actually 2 hours they would pay their staff extra on top of everything else to get physical health checks done every year. So they want all of their staff to get blood tests, everything done every single year, because then you can work out, what's happening with your iron, what's happening with your hormones. Do you just need to increase your magnesium? Because magnesium is one of the first things that go when you're in this stress state. These things can be simple tweaks that are actually going to help you be at your peak performance. And then an emotional check-in, which we'll actually go through in a minute. And then fun. Okay, fun is so important. I know that all of you here are going to be saying, I don't have time to have fun, Lauren. How do I have time to have fun? It literally can be your favorite song as you're getting ready in the morning, 3 minutes, putting it on and dancing in the living room. That could be your fun. That's so good as well for your health. So I want all of you now in the next 7 days to promise me and promise yourself and promise your colleagues, because you will be a better leader and a better manager where you manage your own stress. Be the example and lead from a place of being regulated and having a level of discernment and calm, and it will filter down to the rest of the team, to your community. So plan something fun, and I want you to maybe shout some out in the chat box what you're going to do for fun. And it literally could be anything. It doesn't have to be anything major. It could be watching a movie with your partner without your phone, dancing in the living room, like I said. It could be drawing for 10 minutes. I love those mindful drawing books. They're perfect. So 6 ways to reduce stress at work, and see what you can take from this. I know everyone's different. Maybe some of you work from home. Maybe some of you work in the office. Maybe you do a split. Can you take study and work breaks outside? Can you take your break outside? Can you have conversations that aren't work related? I know I can get in the habit of this too. My partner and I work heavily in this business together. And so all we do is talk about business. And then we go, okay, bring that awareness piece in. We need to talk about something else, because life isn't just about work and business. Do you know your colleagues? Can you say something random about them? What are they like doing on the weekends? Do they have family? Do they have children? Start and end each day with moving. So coming back to those 6 pillars of health, just 10 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes at night, it's perfect. 10 favorite things list. So I love this one because I know a lot of you are going through challenges. When you find a challenge occurring in your workplace, can you just write 10 favorite things about that challenge? So change your, reframing how you're perceiving this stressful situation. So say you have conflict with someone, or say someone's being challenging. Can you find 10 favorite things about that person? So you can change your perspective. Or notice maybe something that they're going through at the moment. That's why they're bringing that conflict into work, or why they're reacting in a certain way. If you're struggling within yourself, can you write 10 favorite things about you? Can you write 10 favorite things about working for Strata? Change your perception. So daily self-check-ins. We'll go through a little example soon of that, but just checking with yourself. How do I feel? Because a lot of the time we suppress, and it's that beach balling effect. We just keep pushing it down. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. And then boom, it's not fine. You're lashing out on your loved ones. You're coming home really ratty and angry. Maybe it's having an effect on your marriage, on your relationship with your children, as well as how you're managing at work. Deep breathing and activation of the diaphragm. There's so many breathing techniques. One of my favorite ones that is calming is breathing in for 3 and breathing out for 6. That will tap into your parasympathetic. That could be one that you use. You can do this at work. Do this when you're at your desk. You can do this when you go to the toilet if you want to be in your own space. You can just walk outside and do a few. And then gratitudes and blessings. So I end every day talking to my partner, and we verbally say 3 blessings from our day. Even if we've had the hardest, the longest, the most challenging day, we force ourselves to think of something to be grateful for. Emotional check-ins. And now some people in here might think, emotions, I don't want to tap into that. And there's the perfect time to start tapping into that. Because if we start to suppress it, it's going to leak out into our loved ones, into our relationships. And I know that the quality of our relationships will determine the quality of our life. Relationships at work and our relationships out of work. So even if we prioritize this for them and for our relationships with them. So if you want to, okay, amazing, Nikki, we can give this one a go. So I don't know where you're watching this. I don't know if you're in an office, but if you're all in it together, that is beautiful and perfect, right? If you're at home, if you're in the car, obviously, maybe don't close your eyes, but you can still do this. You can still do this with your eyes open. So it's an option if you want to close your eyes. Just take a moment to sit and to be in stillness. So when we're still, that's when we start to actually listen to the body. That's what happened to me in my story when I started to actually slow down just for a minute. So if you want to, you can close your eyes and just take a moment. Take a deep breath in through the nose. All the way up, activate the belly, and invite you to exhale through the mouth. Let go of any stress, any tension. And now as you sit or stand in stillness, ask yourself the question, how do I feel in this moment? Let yourself feel anything that comes forward. And then ask yourself, where is that emotion felt? Is it in the chest? Is it in your neck? Is it in your gut? Is it in your heart? See if you can feel where that emotion is coming from in the body. Start to unlock that emotion just by acknowledging it. Then I invite you to state the emotion. And not saying, I am X, Y, or Z, but I'm feeling. That's beautiful, Faith. If you're not feeling anything, that's also okay. Sometimes it takes time to unlock that. Now, embrace this emotion, feel it in the body. Maybe it's a certain color, certain shape. I invite you to embrace that feeling now in your body. Maybe shrink it down to smaller. Maybe visualize the ball or the shape or whatever it is, throwing it away, letting it go and letting it out of the body. Let's take a deep breath in together. And as you exhale, wash it away. And when you're ready, coming back. Obviously, that was really quick. You can take as quick or as long as you like, but this is the PAUSE acronym that we use for a lot of our clients. So you will get the slides, but you can take a screenshot if you want to have it in your phone now. It's a beautiful way to just check in with yourself. Do it in the morning, do it in the evening. So what I noticed that a lot of people, when they're in these really busy industries, they suppress a lot of their emotions. They get home, now looking after their children, their partner, and they're still busy. And we keep suppressing and we don't allow ourselves the time and the space to decompress. The nervous system and your body, everything needs time to decompress. So this will allow you that time and that space. So even if you come home and you just find yourself 5 minutes, you can even turn to your partner, or if you've got someone to go, I just need 2 minutes to myself to decompress so I can come back a more loving partner, a better version of myself. So I don't offload my crap from the day onto you. So now I want to quickly just touch on the green flags for wellbeing and colleagues, because we focus on the red. I don't want to focus on the bad. This is what we're moving towards. Yeah, that's what we're moving away from. So productive at work, maybe reduce sick days. However, that one is an interesting one. Still need to put your hand up and ask for help. Feeling energized and focused, because when we're in our parasympathetic and we have those moments of regulation and decompression, we're able to open our brain a lot more and we have, clearer discernment. Calm and collected. So it's like being the eye of the storm. The external is chaotic, everything's happening around you, just being the witness, being able to be calm and regulated and grounded within the chaos. So admitting to mistakes, taking on feedback well. Feedback is obviously so important, especially when you're a leader, a manager. Healthy habits, so going back to your 6 pillars of health. And great time management, which I know is extremely important for Strata managers.
Thank you so much for that session. I thought it was fantastic. Thank you for sharing your story with us as well.
You're also welcome. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to be on here sharing my story, and hopefully something lands for all of you. It sounds like it has. I'm just reading the chat box now. I'm glad that you've all enjoyed it and you've taken the time out to be here with both of us.
If you gained value from this video, please hit like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're looking for information about parking, strata insurance, defects and more, head over to lookupstrata.com.au or sign up to our free weekly newsletter via the link in the description box below.